What's up, guys? What? What's up, guys, and welcome back to another Saturday. I'm your host, T. Teddy.
And I'm your host, Brooke. And if you can't tell, Tori's 4 beers in at this point.
Put some respect on my name. I'm 3 beers in. The only disclaimer we have is if you're a piece of shit and you were in our lives once, this motherfucking episode is about you. And the best part of having a podcast is that I get to let you guys figure out which story is about you. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, I used to be very I don't want to start shade. I don't want to start tea. I'm at the point in my life, I don't give a fuck. If you were shitty to me, sounds like a you problem. So here's your tape.
I literally live by the motto, if you didn't do anything shitty to me, I wouldn't have anything to talk about. So if you are mad that I have a story about you, you shouldn't have fucking done something stupid. That's the real tea on Spill the Tea.
So, just to lighten the mood, speaking of toxic friendships, Tori and I'm totally joking. Tori and we have a very playful relationship to the point I think people get legitimately concerned for how we talk to each other. But Tori and we do it with love. If you guys have seen the TikTok trend going around, because once again, I have nothing better to do with my adult life than sit on an app made for 14-year-olds. There is a trend going around where you roast each other with and then you insert a bad trait for me. So Tori and I are going to start off this episode with a little roast session.
And you do it until one of you gets insecure, which will most likely be me. All right, kick it off, Brooke.
It's the fake nails for me.
It's the abandonment issues for me.
It's the teen pregnancy for me.
It's the older men loving for me.
It's the teaching your teen pregnant child. It's the teaching your child from the teen pregnancy bad baby songs for me.
It's the dead dog Ducky for me.
That shit hurted it, but we're moving on. It's the only having one sibling who doesn't even like you for me.
It's the having 3 siblings and only one of them likes you, barely, but likes me more for me.
It's the box dye for me.
It's the I don't want to be blonde, I want to be brunette. Just kidding, I don't want to be blonde. Just kidding, I want to be brunette. I can't pick a fucking style for me.
I mean, she's not fucking wrong. And it's not that either of us got insecure. We're just dumb enough to not come up with anything else. So there's a little roast session for you.
It's the 4 puff bars in one hand for me, and that's it.
It's the 3 beers in an hour for me.
That's on alcoholism. Just kidding, I'm not an alcoholic.
Okay, tequila Tori.
Big facts. I like to shake my ass in the club every 3 months. So if you see me at Alleged, know it's my 3-month go.
I have never met another person who only drinks picklebacks at the club. And when they don't provide her pickle juice, she brings her own from home and shoves it in her purse.
Okay, so I don't bring a flask of alcohol to the bar. I bring a flask of pickle juice to the bar. Because they just give you fucking water with some salt and some food coloring, and that's bullshit. I want some Clausen grade A fucking pickles. If you don't know the best pickle, it's Clausen. Don't hit me with that Vlasic shit. You are disgusting.
Yeah, I've never met another person who is more adamant about her pickle selection. Literally, we go out to eat and she's like, I wonder what kind of pickles they use. And I'm like, I don't know, whatever fucking kind you get in bulk, probably.
If it's not Clausen, I don't want it. And that's my take. And I heavily stand by that. And if you say there's another pickle out there better than Clausen, and I taste it, and it's not better than Clausen, I'm going to your house and I'm beating up your mom.
Kara, you better run. Because I'm a Vlasic bitch through and through.
Kara, no shade, but now I gotta kick your ass. I'm so sorry.
Anyways, we are going to be talking about toxic friendships today. I have had a few, to say the least. I'm trying to be nice to myself.
I've also had quite a few toxic friendships, some of which I played a part in. Some of which were just really fucked up and I didn't do shit. What a bitch.
It was okay to be the person who is toxic in the friendship, like Tori in ours. I'm just kidding. But I think what's important is realizing you were toxic and being better in your future friendships. And unfortunately, there are some motherfuckers who will never fucking get that they were the problem and will deny to this fucking day, and convince your mom that you were the problem. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Kara. I was not the problem. Be nice to me.
Yeah, and like I said, I have definitely contributed to my own toxic friendships. I've done some toxic shit. And you know what? I may expose myself in this episode and tell you guys a little bit about that, but we have two major stories because both of us were burned deeply by some bitch ass, trifling, snaky ass motherfuckers. Alright, so let's get into this. You know who you are. You know who this fucking story is about. It actually involves a trio, but mostly the single digit that fucked us all. Her name rhymes with Savannah. So Savannah and I were mutual friends. We actually had a couple friends in common, hence mutual friends. I'm a fucking idiot. But then we started talking on Twitter. You know, we tweet each other like, oh, you're so cute. No, you're cute. And then I don't even know how we started hanging out, but we became friends. And we got close, like, pretty fast. And, like, we went through some shit together. Like, she was there through, like, my darkest times. And honestly, like, I thought, you know, after everything that happened with me, like, and she was so comforting and there for me, and she, like, reassured me and cared about me. I was like, wow, you know, she really gives a fuck about me. Like, this is a really good friend. And so I opened up way more to her. I got closer with her, and we were actually going to move in together. And then what had happened was, she started hanging out with this girl who, that's a whole nother story, but this girl basically is my arch nemesis. Not anymore, I'm a fucking adult. But she's like my arch nemesis, and she went and told her everything about me. Everything, including, like, my biggest shame, my suicide attempt. She went and told her, like, deep secrets that really she shouldn't have been telling anybody in the first place. But it is someone who posed as my friend for so long to sit and to my face be so nice to me and so kind to me, and then to use every single secret I ever told her to basically just start shit with this other girl who already had beef with me. So, like, there was nothing else that needed to be said. She already fucking hated me. It's just to talk shit. And, like, that really fucked me up, to be honest. But to this day, she still follows me on social media, pretending like nothing fucking happened. She still likes my Instagram pictures, and it's like, you know what? I'm an adult, and I'm over it. Like, but at the same time, like, stay the fuck out of my life. I don't want to see your name. I don't want to hear your name. You fucked me over so bad. And to do that and to tell secrets of somebody that was once your friend, I would never, just because I'm not friends with someone anymore, go and talk all this shit on them and tell people. And the thing is we weren't even not friends anymore. We were still fucking friends. We were still friends. And she turned her back and was like, oh, yeah. And so for that, you're a fucking snake, Savannah. And you know who you are. And like I said, I am not holding any grudges, but I have no need in my life to associate with this girl, to hang out with this girl, to associate with anyone who associates with her, because I know how snaky and shit-talking she can be. Because I know if I tell a friend something, that friend may mention it to her, and then that's going to get around to every fucking person I hate. It was like a whole plot of, like, how deeply can we talk shit and make up shit, and, like, it went from telling secrets, which at least if you're going to talk shit, I guess you're talking shit about true things, to bullshit fucking blatant lies. And that's where I was like, you're a C-word. See you next Tuesday, Savannah.
My toxic friendship was not necessarily as much like going behind my back. To kind of set the scene, my friendship originally started with me and another girl who we're going to call June. All right, so to set the scene, the friendship had actually started between me and another girl who we're going to call June. June and I had been friends since I was 15. She is about 5 years older than me, but we had kind of gotten close because we worked together, and she was also close with my mom, who I also worked with at the time. June and I had been friends for a super long time. You know, kind of like we would lose contact here and there in between, you know, through job changes, but we always seemed to kind of like come back to each other. Her family was close with my family, and, you know, we were very good friends. Well, one day, someone I went to high school posted on Facebook that their girlfriend was looking for a job. She was moving down from Salt Lake and would be in the Ogden area. Well, I worked in the Ogden area at the time. We were short-staffed. I was like, hey, I'll message him. So like I said, I message him and I'm like, hey, my job is hiring, have her come down, fill out an application. We'll get her set up with an interview. Well, this is when Tabby comes along. Tabby comes, fills out an application, gets hired, and she starts working in the classroom that I worked in. About like 3 or 4 months went by. We were coworkers, but nothing more. And then, we kind of just started to realize we had a lot of things in common. And that's when June, Tabby, and I kind of became a trio. We were very, very close. I mean, literally, we used to call ourselves the quote-unquote girl gang. Yeah. Anyways, we were super close. We spent almost every single day together. The guy I was dating at the time lived in Montana. So I kind of had a lot of free time. These girls pretty much were my family. They were at every family event, every birthday party, everything, you name it. Fast forward, some time goes by. I meet Joe, and I did something that was not really the best on my part, and I decided my ex and I had been having a fallout for a very long time. We were very toxic together, which toxic relationships is a whole nother episode. I'm not even going to open that can of worms today. But I decided to break things off. Joe and I started dating. There was some, not tension, but during the breakup, there was a lot of stuff on Twitter that went down, and Tabby was very, I'm on your side, defended me, which I was very quiet on social media at the time because I obviously, was interested in someone else while I was dating someone else. Not the best on my part, but that's besides the point. I think the original tension started when I kind of couldn't make every second of my day about Tabby any longer, and I started a new relationship. Kind of rewind a little bit. I had a miscarriage back in November of 2018, and it was super hard on me, but, Tabby and June were very supportive. We were very close, and, I got through it. Well, shortly later, Tabby announces she was pregnant, which was also, obviously a very kind of hard thing to come to terms with that. I just lost my baby, and she got to have hers, but I made sure that I was very involved with everything she was doing. I threw her gender reveal. I threw her baby shower. I invited all of her family down from Salt Lake. The whole 9 yards, spent lots of my money just to kind of make her feel important and to make her know that I was, going to be involved in her life and her baby's life. I started a new job while she was pregnant, and I kind of started getting closer to some other friends. I had gotten closer with Tori, who I met. And like I said, Tabby was she was upset I started a new relationship. She was upset I was starting new friendships. And we kind of were getting in little spouts here and there. Just about, she felt like I was quote unquote replacing her. And that was not at all the case.
To add, Tabby fucking hated my fucking guts. So fuck you, Tabby. Fuck you for fucking up my bitch Brooke.
And there was really no reason to hate her. It's not like I was bailing on Tabby to go and do things with Tori at all. I'm still making time for everyone in my day, doing the whole 9 yards. But like I said, she was kind of very controlling of what I was doing with my life. Well, we have this huge falling out. She tells me how I replaced her. I was never there for her during her pregnancy, which, keep in mind, I busted my ass throwing baby showers, bridal showers, being involved in the pregnancy announcement, the whole 9 yards. I was fucking there for her through and through. And for someone to say, hey, you weren't doing enough when I was going through a hard time mentally was kind of a slap in my face. Tabby and I we lose touch, but June and I were still in contact. And, Tabby and I are both reaching out to June saying, what can I do to fix this? Too much discretion. A ton of people told me, don't even fucking waste your time. And what did I do? I tried. About another 3 months went by, and it was just kind of bitchy comments behind my back, tweets on Twitter that I wasn't added at, but I knew 100% were directed at me. the whole 9 yards. And that just fucking hurt because, like, I was literally doing my best. And for someone to say, like, hey, you're not doing enough, that was shitty. The friendship breakup went on for, God, it felt like forever, but it was about 6 months, like how long we tried to reconnect, would stop talking, would continue talking, would stop talking. And finally it got to the point where, like, my fiance was like, this is not good for your mental health. My friends were saying this is not good for your mental health. And if anyone knows my brother Carson, who I know is going to listen to this episode and know just who I'm talking about.
I love you, Carson.
The new favorite sister. Anyways, my brother is he doesn't give a shit about anyone. And he openly told me how much he did not like Tabby and how, for different reasons, not just she was mean to me, but there was a lot of shit going on behind the scenes. And he was like, I don't fucking like her. And it pretty much just was a very long breakup. But I remember there were points where, like, my depression was so bad because it felt like leaving a toxic relationship. Like, I wanted to make it work, but I was tired of being gaslighted and manipulated and being talked about behind my back on social media, the whole 9 yards. And like I said, this person worked with my mom, kind of, told my mom certain things that didn't happen. It kind of, like, had me feeling very, like, angry towards my mom. And I was like, okay, so not only are you trying to turn away my friends, June, and my mom against me, but, like, coworkers, the whole 9 yards. I think one of the worst parts about that friendship, though, was that I had been friends with June, like I said, since I was 15, so over 5 years. And the whole time during the thing, she never once stood up for me. And to this day, she'll message me on Snapchat and see how I'm doing, but it's like she'll never, do anything that Tabby can see or Tabby will know of because, they're friends still. And that just sucked because I lost, like, someone that I considered to be family. And one of my best friends, but obviously, I made a ton of new friendships. I am doing really, really well. And sometimes you just got to let the toxic people go so you can grow.
And like I said, Tabby treated me like shit also. So fuck Tabby if you're listening to this. Fuck you. Fuck everything about you. Anyways, I want to tell a story about when I was toxic in a friendship. So when I was a junior in high school, I was skipping classes to go hang out with my baby daddy because I moved in the middle of my junior year. And so no, I was still going to my old school, so I didn't have to switch schools, even though we moved closer to a different high school. But I had to skip 2 classes because I lived so far away from my school to see him for one of his classes. So I was missing a lot of school. My mom found out. She was like, all right, you're moving to different schools. You're walking to school now. And I was like, cool. So she took away my car. I started walking to school. And long story short, whatever, me and my baby daddy break up. I'm going to a whole new school. I'm like, what do I even do? Like, I don't know anybody. So I become friends with this group of girls. And they were kick-ass. Like, they invited me in. I was, like, 7 months pregnant. So they were, like, good friends to me, to be honest. Like, I'm not going to lie at all and say that they were, like, I was toxic because they were toxic. No, I was, they were all super nice to me, invited me in. I was pregnant. And then when I had my baby, they all came to the hospital to see my baby. Like, they were good friends. And so they hung out with me. They were awesome. They stuck by me. Well, I had my son. It was November of my senior year. So, we all graduated. He was about 6 months old, and I had one friend going out of state for college. I had another friend going out of state for college. I had a couple that were moving to different cities in Utah, and we all kind of just split up. And, I wasn't with, like, in their friend group for very long. So it was hard for me to, like, keep those relationships because we all had relationships, but there was, like, 10 of us. So it was hard to, like, keep really strong bonds with everybody because I wasn't, like, super, super, super close to anybody. I hadn't been friends with all of them for years, So it's about 6 months after we graduate. I haven't really talked to any of them. I'm just doing my own thing, making my new friends, whatever, just kind of dealing with life. And then I start hanging out with this guy and this other guy. And one of them happened to be an ex-boyfriend of one of the girls in the group. And at first I was like, whatever, we can be friends. Like, they were friends with my baby daddy. I'm like, that's not weird. And I'm like, okay, whatever, this is cool. And I was really hanging out with this other guy who brought along this guy, so I was like, there's nothing wrong with this. Well, we ended up dating, and this girl, like one of the girls in the group, she was pissed. She was fucking pissed. And back then I was like, she's being dramatic. She's moved on with another guy. She's living with this other guy. Like, why does it even matter? And now that I look back at it, I'm like, no, that was so toxic of me. Like, even though we weren't super close, like the fact that I dated her ex is like the biggest fucking girl code break you could ever do. And I would never, ever repeat that because that was shitty. And like, since then, me and the girl talked about it, and I've apologized and she's apologized for everything. And they're actually married now. So that's a crazy plot twist. And they're having a baby. So congratulations. I'm very happy for you. I'm sorry I was such a bitch.
And like I said, there's definitely been times where I have been the toxic person in the friendship, as much as I can say, like, as much as I wish I could say, like, no, they were toxic or this, or that. Like, kind of, like, becoming an adult is realizing the shitty things you've done. And I know that I have done many shitty things. There was a girl in high school that we were kind of friends, but not super, super close. Well, because of some mutual friends, we ended up getting close. But because of the other group of girls that I were friends with, one of them didn't like her. And so, like, when I was around that group of friends, like, they would kind of talk and I wouldn't stand up for her, or I would kind of, like, chime in to feel like I was fitting in. And we have definitely reconnected, and I've apologized for the things I've said. She's forgiven me. We've hung out a couple times since high school and things like that. But yeah, being in high school, obviously, like, you kind of just want to fit in with what's convenient at the time. And I definitely was one of those people that, like, I would be like, okay, this is my friend group of the day. Like, I swear to God, like, I obviously had a close group of friends, but because they didn't like this girl when I was around them, like, I would kind of chime in on gossip and things like that. And we've definitely apologized to each other. I mean, she did nothing wrong, but I apologized, and she's accepted my apology, and we've tried our best to move on. We're not friends anymore, not because of, like, the gossip that happened in high school. It's just that we aren't close, and that's fine. Like, we're not friends. We're just acquaintances. But it was one of those things that, like, looking back and being the girl who was being talked about behind her back and things like that, like, you kind of rethink and you, like, realize, like, okay, that was shitty. I was shitty. And, that's part of being an adult, is realizing the things you've done wrong and moving forward from them and, like, making your best effort to not be that person. Like, I have friends that aren't friends with my other friends, and they'll be like, oh, I hate her, or I don't like her, or she's annoying. And I'm like, yeah, well, you don't have to hang out with her. Like, I'm going to continue because she's my friend, but, I'm sorry you feel that way. But that's just part of being an adult, is choosing what battles to fight, I guess, if that makes sense.
No, and I think we've all been guilty of this in some way or another. Like, if you're really strong, maybe not you, but I know definitely when I was younger, I love the tea. I love to hear about the tea, whether it's famous people, whether it's people I know. I love to, like, I'm nosy as fuck, and I cannot help it as my toxic trait. I'm fucking nosy, so I like to hear all about it. But then the problem with that is, once you hear about it, now you're involved. Now you're involved because you didn't tell so-and-so, or because someone told you, and now or whatever, that's the hardest part, is you always get sucked into it. And I definitely was not very strong when I was in high school and younger, and I would do the same thing where I would, like, kind of talk shit just to, like, say, yeah, just to be cool. And it's not fucking cool. And now I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, whatever shit I have to talk about you, I'll say it to your fucking face. Like, if I'm telling Brooke right now, like, Savannah's a fucking bitch, if Savannah was like, hey, do you like me? I would be like, I don't want to associate with you. And then she'd be like, well, do you think I'm a bitch? And I would say, yeah, because I'm at the point where anything I say online or to another person or quote behind your back, just because you weren't there doesn't mean I won't say it to your face. And that's just how I live my life now. And some may say, like, people have said that that's just aggressive, or that's just a lot. You're being a pot stirrer, you're being aggressive. And I'm like, no, I'm being honest, and I'm being a lot more blunt. And I think that in a way that almost pisses people off more than if I were to go talk shit behind your back and say, no. And if I were to say, yeah, no, I said that because I think that. And, like, I'll say it to people's faces now. Like, I'll call you out and say, no, you're being a fucking idiot. And some people think that, like, that's rude and mean or whatever, but I don't know. It's how I live my life now. And I personally feel better at the end of the day because I know if drama were to pop off and I'm in the middle of it, I can say, this is how I feel and this is how I said I felt. instead of being like, well, yeah, I didn't say that, and then like really I said it, or oh, I said that but like I didn't mean it. It just, at the end of the day, just own your shit.
And I think a big thing too is people like, if you don't agree with someone or you don't like someone, people label you as being like mean or whatever. Like, listen, I'm entitled to my feelings. I don't have to like every person that I come across, and that's okay. Am I going to go make up rumors or slander your name? No. But am I going to say shitty things you've done? Or if someone's like, oh, I love so-and-so, I can freely say, I have a bad past with her. I don't like her. And that's just the tea. Like, that's not even tea. Like, that's fine. I'm entitled to how I feel. I'm entitled to my personal experiences or my personal feelings. And that doesn't make me mean or whatever. Like, I could see if I was making up lies, like, oh, she slept with so-and-so, and that would be me being mean. But if someone came and was like, I heard that you told Savannah that you don't like me. Is that true? I'd be like, yeah, I don't fucking like you. Like, we don't have to be friends. That's the great part of being an adult and no longer being in high school, is you are not forced to be in the same area with someone. Like, if we work together and I don't like you, trust me, I have worked with plenty of people I don't like. I'll be civil with you, but that doesn't mean I have to fucking like you, and that's the difference.
But no, so just because I don't like someone doesn't mean I'm telling you can't like that person. Like, it depends on the person in the situation. If I have Becky, who I work with, who I barely fucking know, say, oh yeah, Trisha's such a bitch, I would be like, okay, we'll see. Like, I'll fill Trisha out. But if Brooke comes to me and she's like, Trisha's such a bitch, I might take it a little more seriously because, like, the source. So inspect the source it's coming from. You don't always need to say, like, cut that person off. But I'm not the type of person to say, okay, you need to cut that person off. But I am the type of person to say, if you associate with them, I don't associate with you, because I don't want my business getting spread. I know how they are, and however that may be. And I think as friendships, you should just respect that anyways. Like, you shouldn't have to cut people off, but you should know, like, that person was shitty to my friend. I don't want to be friends with someone who treated my friend like shit, which is fair.
And it plays into a lot of, like, I'm an empathizer. So if someone is like, this person hurt my feelings, I probably won't like you because you hurt my friend's feelings. It has nothing to do with a past that you or I have had, or even a future present. If that's how I know you treated my friend, that doesn't mean I'm not going to like you. That doesn't mean my friend can't continue to be friends with you. Like, if Tori came to me and one day was like, me and Savannah are going to be friends, which would never fucking happen. But if it did, I would respect Tori, but I don't think I could be friends with Savannah because of the way she made Tori feel. And Tori is my best friend, so I couldn't move on from that. And that's the same with Tabby. I know that Tori and I have open communication and open conversations about, I don't care who you're friends with. You're allowed to do whatever you want to fucking do, but this is the person that I am not okay with you, like, talking about, mostly because of the way that they have made me feel.
And I'm super defensive, too, of my friends. Like, if I know that you treated my friend like shit, like, I will not be okay with you because I'm so defensive of my friends. And I, like, everybody I surround myself with, like, I'm such a strong personality that, like, Brooke, she's so sweet. Like, my other friend, Callie, like, they're so sweet that, like, I know that, like, if you were mean to them, then you were doing it because you're an asshole, not because, like, you guys butt heads. Like, I have a super strong personality where it's, like, I know you either love me or hate me, and, like, I accept that, and that's fine. But, like, they're so sweet that I'm like, if you're mean to my friends, then you've got a fucking problem, not them, and I know that for a fact.
And I have one of my very best friends, he kind of got, like, did really, really dirty by a girl, and the girl was trying to, like, make her way back through the friend group with someone else, and my friend, who is super, super sweet, he was like, it's okay, like, I don't want to tell them, like, who they can or can't be friends with. And I was like, no, it's not okay, because she fucked you up. She, did X, Y, and Z. She is not allowed back in this friend group because of the way she treated you. We all respect you and love you enough that we are not going to bring this person around knowing full well it makes you uncomfortable, because that would be a shitty friendship move. That's just the tea.
Is that the girl I tried to fight?
Yes, that is the girl you tried to fight at the bar. And I loved every second of it. Taking off her jacket, running up the stairs to go kick some ass.
And that's another story, folks. Stay tuned for another episode. So let's get into a little bit lighter of a topic. So how did me and Brooke become friends? So I'll start with my version, and then Brooke will tell how we got there, and then we'll kind of combine our life together and our future life together. We're engaged. Spoiler. That was so.
Moving to Peru.
We're moving to Peru. We'll see you guys when we get set up. So my friend Garrett, shout out Garrett. He said he loves our Chatterdays. I don't know if he's full of shit, but we love you, Garrett. So I went out with my friend Garrett. He's like my only guy friend. We've been friends forever. Like, he's like my brother. And we go to the bar one night. And I remember I was in leggings and a crop top because we're going to the club. Like, we're going to the club. I'm like, I gotta dress like ho. And so I'm like, and it's not even to like get dudes, it's to get drinks. I don't give a
fit
yes, if you are dressed in like a button up or like a coat, you know, and like a long sleeve and like, you know, you're gonna stand out like heavily. So we're at the club, I'm in a crop top and leggings, and Garrett's basically there to make sure that I don't get drugged. So we go to the bar, we're hanging out, and we're chilling. And we're on this couch, and I see Brooke, who we've talked about. I heard rumors about Brooke in high school. She heard rumors. You know, it's kind of like one of those things where, like, I knew of her, but I didn't know her. So I guess her and Garrett were friends. And so she comes to the table.
I get to the table, and Tori is, like, pulling down her shirt, like, trying to, like, she, like, looks at me, and her little Connie, we talk about Connie all the time, he goes to the daycare I worked at. And so Tori's like, I'm not a bad mom. And I'm like, girl, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care what you do. As long as you pick your kid up by the time we're closed so I can go home. I do not care. But I go to talk to Garrett, and eventually, like, I'm like, Tori, let's take a shot, because that's just, if I offer you a shot, that means, like, I want you to be my friend, so be nice to me. So, you know, Tori and I start drinking. We start, like, dancing, you know, the whole 9 yards. Garrett's pretty much chilling in the corner, just making sure we both don't get fucking roofied, because we are shaking our asses like nobody's business.
This was back in my vodka days, and I remember they were buying me shot after shot after shot of vodka, and I was fucking gone. Because I'm the type of person at the club where I'm like, oh, I don't dance. I don't dance. And then 2 shots later, I'm like, let me see you shake your ass. I'm shaking my ass. And then I'm fucking twerking everywhere, dropping it low. I really think when I'm drunk, I can just drop that ass to the floor and bring it back, and I cannot. So, me and Brooke, we're hanging out. I'm like, I'm so embarrassed because I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to see these people Monday, and I'm plastered in a crop top, and I do not look like someone's mother. Which, I mean, granted, I was 21, so, like, it's not like I'm, like, 45 years old. And for the record, if you are a mom and you go to the clubs and you're wearing your crop top and you're getting blasted, as long as you're not, like, tossing your kid to everybody every day, I think it's fair. And my son, he goes to his dad's, so obviously I have free weekends. Besides the point, it's still okay as a parent to go get free time. Like, no shade, no tea, go live your life, but also be a good parent. There's a good balance. So, anyways.
So I remember Tori and I were, like, dancing so long, and, like, my other friends that were there too. I mean, we had been dancing for so long that I remember leaving because I was like, okay, let's walk across the street and get some Lucky Slice. Tori was waiting for her ride. We had a DD, but I was like, okay, well, make sure Tori gets picked up. We walk across the street, and I remember, like, feeling soaking wet because my sweat was dripping through my clothes. And if anyone ever goes out drinking on 25th, you know how close Lucky Slice is to every fucking bar. And so we went to Lucky Slice. I buy everyone pizza. Tori doesn't even eat hers. Garrett doesn't eat his. Tori throws up on my other friend's shoe. And then her husband comes and picks her up. And I send, like, the fucking Da Vinci Code of DMs trying to make sure that he got her home safe. And I was like, it was like capital I, lowercase s, and then, like, a bunch of, like, random words that were supposed to be Tori, like, okay, please don't be mad at her. And I remember Zach pulled up, and I, like, shoved my head in the window, and I was like, you're Zach Flint, I follow you on Twitter. Also, please don't be mad at Tori, we got her drunk.
I know, because that's Zach's tea always, is like, you can go to the clubs, whatever, you know, as long as you're being safe. He's like, but don't get so drunk that, like, you're impossible to get home. And every time I go to the clubs and he's not there to make sure I'm responsible, I get so drunk that someone has to babysit me. This night, I had 4 babysitters. Me and Brooke, when we go to the clubs by ourselves, it's a fucking disaster. 2 very drunk girls, me, usually blacked out girl, trying to get the fuck home is a joke, but that's a story for another day. Once again, we will tell our drunk stories, and they will be juicy. And so, and then I remember after this happened, you know, like, we all kind of hung out, because I was like, oh, that's awesome, you know, like, because Garrett was leaving because he's in the Marines, and I was like, I know that he's joining or whatever, you know, and we were all just hanging out. And we all got kind of close, and, you know, we had like a little friendsgiving and stuff, because this was 2018. Yeah, this is 2018. So we were all like starting to get closer. That's so weird. I thought we were only friends for like 3 months. It feels like so short but so long. But so we like all start hanging out, and then Brooke's boyfriend at the time, he comes up to me and he's like, you really got to be good to Brooke. You know, I really want you to be her friend. Like, she really needs some good friends. And I was like, okay, buddy. And he was like, no, like, I really want you to be her friend. Like, just up my asshole. And I was like, okay, well, now I'm not going to be her friend because her boyfriend's weird. And I was like, okay, buddy. And so I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then I'm thinking, you know, like, Brooke and I are like friends, like, you know, but I'm like, I don't know, we'll see where this goes. And I don't know how, I don't know, maybe from working at the bar together. And then we actually, like, so we worked at the bar together, and then she was telling me about this job where her and my other friend were working at, and she's like, oh yeah, they're hiring. And I was like, I'll apply. So I applied and got the job. And then from there, we became like inseparable.
And that's how you're listening to this podcast today, boys and girls. We are attached at the nipple and the labia lips.
And it's just so funny how, like, we literally went from strangers in a bar to being so close. And, like, we both had our mutual friend, Garrett, and now we are so tight. We're, like, each other's best friend, and it's so fucking weird. And it's crazy because, like, I feel like the people that you bond with so hard in such a short time, like, it can either be the best thing or the worst thing, because either you have a massive falling out just as hard as you had a falling in, or you just grow so close, and, like, we are inseparable. And I think the podcast is awesome for our friendship, because now we have to force ourselves to get together, like, once a week, which it's not forcing, but it's, like, an excuse to be like, oh, yeah, I gotta go hang out at Brooke's for 6 hours.
Literally, before we filmed this, my fiance was home and he was showering before the bar, and I, like, opened the curtain to give him a kiss, and he, like, turned around and, like, gave me a dirty look, and I was like, what? And he's like, oh, I thought you were Tori, and I was just wondering why you were annoying me. Like, he wasn't like, oh my god, Tori's gonna see me naked. He was just like, oh, it's fucking Tori being Tori. And literally every time I go to Tori's house, like, Zach's face of, like, just disappointment, like, I'm gonna have to listen to you two ramble for the next 6 hours. Like, Conrad's always like, are you gonna stay here? Because that's how often I'm over there.
We literally get together at least once a week. And if we don't see each other every, like, 3 days, we're like, I miss you. I love you. I miss you. We're like, I text her sweeter messages than I text Zach. I'm like, I miss you. How are you? How's your health today? How's your mental? How are you doing? I love you. I want to kiss you. Not really, but, like, kind of.
Yeah, no, we are, like, literally up each other's ass all the time, and our fiancés Our fiancés are sick of it. My brother and Tori have declared that Tori is the new favorite sister. Me and Bailey are out. It's Tori. I mean, my mom invited, like, we're talking about, like, planning a girls trip. My mom's like, okay, make sure Tori's free, like, the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, okay. Like, it's just so weird, because if you would have asked me, like, in 2018, like, would you guys be doing this today? I'd be like, no, like, not at all. So it's, like Tori said, it's just so weird, like, who you become close with and who becomes your best friend.
Oh, yeah, it's, like, so crazy, because I feel like it happened overnight. Like, we were, like, friends, you know, like, acquaintances or whatever, and then we were, like, best friends. And now that the podcast, like, we're so far up each other's ass. Like I said, I love it. Like, I love Brooke. She is so nice. And I feel like I, in the relationship, like, take control, and I'm, like, blunt, and I'm like, no, here's the tea. And I'm aggressive, and then Brooke's she keeps me level. You know, she keeps me sane. At the same time, though, when we get together, we're ourselves. And then when we get together, we are, like, different people. We hype each other the fuck up. We are, like, ourselves on crack when we're together. We talk the most vulgar shit. We are wild. We are loud. We are crazy. And so I think we are a perfect match.
I also agree. You are the yin to my yang.
The nipple to my breast.
The labia to my lips.
That's all I got.
But yes, with that being said, ditch your toxic friendship. If you were looking for a sign, this is your fucking sign. Ditch your toxic friendship. Go make a new best friend. There are people out there, and you'll find your princess bride one day, man.
My little Brooklyn bridge. This is the best lesson, is ditch your toxic friends, because Brooke was in a toxic friendship. The girl hated me. And now look at us. We're fucking thriving. We're hyping each other up. We're living our best fucking lives. And now Tabby is crying in a corner because she fucking sucks.
And with that being said, we are going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. Callie, Ashley, Garrett, and Jesus, even though I know he ain't listening. We love you all so much, and we are so glad to be a part of our family.
Goodbye.